A single dad lost his job for spending $20 of his own money to help a stranger buy medicine for her sick grandson. What he didn't know was that this woman would soon offer him something that would change his and his daughter's lives forever. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. Mark Thompson was stocking shelves at Henderson's grocery store when he heard the commotion near the front of the store. It was a busy Friday evening, and the store was full of people picking up groceries for the weekend. But the raised voices cut through the normal shopping noise, making several customers turn their heads. Mark set down the box of cereal he was holding and walked toward the sound. As the night shift supervisor, it was his job to handle any problems that came up. He had been working at Henderson's for 3 years, ever since his wife died, and he needed a steady job with health insurance for his 8-year-old daughter Lily. Near the checkout counter, Mark saw a well-dressed woman in her 50s arguing with his manager, Mr. Peterson. The woman was holding a small basket with just a few items: milk, bread, and some medicine. But she looked upset, almost desperate. "Please," the woman was saying. "I just need these few things. My card will work, I promise. The bank just needs to process my deposit." Mr. Peterson shook his head firmly. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but your card has been declined 3 times. I can't let you take these items without payment. But I need the medicine. It's for my grandson. He's sick and I'm watching him while my daughter is at work." Mark could see tears forming in the woman's eyes. She was clearly embarrassed by the situation, especially with other customers watching. He looked at her basket again. The total couldn't be more than $20. "Is there a problem here?" Mark asked, stepping forward. "Mark, this lady's card won't go through," Mr. Peterson explained. "I've tried it 3 times. Mark looked at the woman more closely. Her clothes were expensive, but she looked tired and worried. There was something genuine about her desperation that touched him. "What's your name, ma'am?" Mark asked gently. "Catherine. Catherine Williams. And I'm not trying to steal anything. I have money, my bank account got frozen because of some mix-up with my late husband's estate. It should be fixed by Monday, but my grandson needs his medicine tonight." Mark made a decision that would change his life forever. He reached into his wallet and pulled out a $20 bill, part of the money he had been saving for Lily's birthday present next week. "Here," he said, handing the money to the cashier. "I'll pay for Mrs. Williams' items." "Mark, you can't do that," Mr. Peterson said immediately. "Company policy states that employees cannot pay for customers' purchases during their shift. It could be seen as theft or fraud." "How is it theft if I'm paying with my own money?" Mark asked. "Because you're on company time and it looks like you're giving away merchandise." "I'm sorry, Mark, but I have to write this up." Mark looked at Catherine, who was staring at him with surprise and gratitude. Then he looked at the medicine in her basket, children's fever reducer. He thought about Lily, and how desperate he would feel if she was sick and he couldn't get her medicine. "Write it up then," Mark said, completing the transaction. "But this lady is getting her grandson's medicine." Catherine took her bag with shaking hands. "Thank you," she whispered. "You don't know what this means to me." "It's okay," Mark said. "I hope your grandson feels better." As Catherine left the store, Mr. Peterson shook his head. "Mark, I like you, but I have to follow company rules. This is going in your file, and if it happens again, there will be consequences." Mark nodded, already knowing he would make the same choice again if faced with a similar situation. Some things were more important than company policies. 3 days later, Mark was called into Mr. Peterson's office. The district manager, Mr. James, was there too, looking stern and official. "Mark," Mr. Peterson began, "we need to talk about what happened Friday night." "The lady with the medicine?" "I already told you, I paid for it with my own money." "That's not the point," Mr. James interrupted. "Company policy is clear. Employees cannot make purchases for customers during work hours. It creates liability issues and sets a bad precedent." "So you're firing me for helping someone?" Mark asked, feeling his heart sink. "We're letting you go for violating company policy," Mr. James said coldly. "You can finish your shift today, but don't come in tomorrow." Mark felt like the world was spinning. He had been a good employee for 3 years. He was never late, never called in sick unless Lily was sick, and always did his job well. And now he was losing everything because he spent $20 to help a stranger. That evening, Mark sat at his kitchen table staring at bills while Lily did her homework nearby. Without his job, he wouldn't be able to pay rent next month. He wouldn't be able to afford Lily's school supplies or her birthday party. He had been building a stable life for them, and now it was all falling apart. "Daddy, you look sad," Lily said, looking up from her math homework. "I'm okay, sweetheart. Just thinking about grown-up stuff. Is it about work? You came home early today. Mark didn't want to worry his daughter, but he also believed in being honest with her. I'm not going to be working at the grocery store anymore. Why not? Because I helped someone and my boss didn't like it. Lily considered this with the serious expression she got when she was thinking hard. But helping people is good. You always tell me to help people. It is good, Lily. And I would do it again. Then your boss was wrong, Lily said with 8-year-old certainty. Mark smiled despite his worry. Yeah, he was wrong. The next week was difficult. Mark applied for jobs every day, but most places wanted to know why he had left his last job. When he explained that he was fired for helping a customer, some employers looked at him like he was lying. Others seemed impressed by his honesty but worried about hiring someone who had been terminated. Mark's savings were running low, and he was starting to panic about how he would take care of Lily. He had always prided himself on being able to provide for his daughter, and the thought of failing her was devastating. On Thursday morning, Mark was walking back from another unsuccessful job interview when he saw a familiar figure sitting on his front porch. It was Catherine Williams, the woman he had helped at the store. Mrs. Williams? What are you doing here? Catherine stood up, looking nervous but determined. I came to thank you properly. And to ask you something. You don't need to thank me. It was just $20. It wasn't just $20 to me, Catherine said firmly. My grandson's fever broke that night because of the medicine you made sure I could get. But more than that, you showed kindness to a stranger when you didn't have to. Mark invited Catherine inside, where Lily was eating lunch before school. Lily, this is Mrs. Williams. She's the lady I helped at the store. Lily looked at Catherine with interest. Are you why Daddy lost his job? Lily. Mark said, embarrassed. But Catherine knelt down to Lily's level. Yes, sweetheart, I am. And I'm very sorry about that. Your daddy is a good man who did the right thing, and he shouldn't have been punished for it. That's what I told him, Lily said matter-of-factly. Catherine smiled. You're a smart girl. And you have a wonderful father. After Lily left for school, Catherine and Mark sat in the living room. Mark noticed that Catherine looked different than she had at the store, more composed, more confident. Mark, I need to be honest with you about something. When I met you at the store, I was having the worst week of my life. My husband had died 6 months earlier, and his business partners were trying to freeze me out of the company we had built together. They had tied up my accounts in legal proceedings, and I was living off the small amount of cash I had in my purse. I'm sorry for your loss, Mark said. Thank you. But here's the thing, that night after you helped me, I went home and called my lawyer. I told him I was tired of being pushed around and I was ready to fight. Your kindness reminded me that there are still good people in the world, and it gave me the strength to stand up for myself. Catherine reached into her purse and pulled out an envelope. This past Monday, the court ruled in my favor. I got full control of my late husband's company, Williams Construction. It's one of the largest construction companies in the state. Mark stared at her, processing this information. That's wonderful. I'm happy for you. Mark, I want to offer you a job. Mrs. Williams, I appreciate the thought, but I don't know anything about construction. Catherine smiled. The job isn't in construction. I need someone to manage the company's community outreach program. We donate to local charities, sponsor youth sports teams, help families in need. I need someone who understands what it means to help others, someone with integrity and compassion. Mark felt his heart start to race. What kind of job are you talking about? Community Relations Manager. $60,000 a year to start, full health benefits, 2 weeks paid vacation, and a budget to help people in our community. The only requirement is that you have a heart for helping others, and you've already proven you have that. Mark stared at the envelope Catherine was holding out to him. Mrs. Williams, I can't accept charity. This isn't charity, Mark. This is a job offer for someone who is qualified for the position. The fact that you helped me shows me you're exactly the kind of person I need. Catherine opened the envelope and pulled out official-looking papers. Here's the job description, the salary details, and the benefits package. There's also something else. She handed him a check. Mark looked at it and felt his knees go weak. It was for $5,000. What is this for? Signing bonus. And before you argue, this is standard for management positions at Williams Construction. Plus, I know you're probably behind on bills after losing your job, and I know you spent your own money to help me. Mark felt tears forming in his eyes. A week ago, he had been facing eviction and wondering how he would feed his daughter. Now he was being offered a job that paid 3 times what he made at the grocery store. Mrs. Williams, I don't know what to say. Say yes. Say you'll take the job and help me make a difference in our community. Mark looked around his small apartment, thinking about all the bills on his kitchen table, about Lily's upcoming birthday, about the future he could give his daughter with this opportunity. Yes, he said quietly. Yes, I'll take the job. Catherine smiled brighter than the sun. Wonderful. You start Monday. And Mark? Call me Catherine. That evening, when Lily came home from school, Mark sat her down for another serious conversation. Remember how I lost my job for helping that lady? Yes. Mrs. Williams. Well, Mrs. Williams came by today. She offered me a new job. Lily's eyes widened. Really? What kind of job? A job helping other people. Families who need help, kids who need school supplies, people who are having hard times. So you get paid to help people? Lily asked with wonder. Yes, sweetheart. I get paid to help people. Lily threw her arms around her father's neck. That's the best job ever, Daddy. Mark started work at Williams Construction the following Monday. Catherine showed him to an office that was bigger than his entire apartment, with a window overlooking the city and a secretary to help him organize his schedule. Your first project, Catherine said, handing him a folder, is to identify 10 families in the area who need help with medical bills, housing, or education costs. We have a budget of $50,000 to distribute this quarter. Mark opened the folder and saw forms for grant applications, community referrals, and partnership opportunities with local charities. It was exactly the kind of work he had dreamed of doing but never thought he could afford to pursue. Catherine, can I ask you something? Of course. Why me? I mean, really? You could have hired someone with experience, someone with a college degree. Catherine sat down across from his desk. Mark, my husband used to say that you can teach someone skills, but you can't teach them character. That night at the store, you showed more character in 5 minutes than most people show in a lifetime. She paused, looking out the window. You know what impressed me most? It wasn't just that you helped me. It was that you were willing to lose your job to do what was right. That told me everything I needed to know about who you are. Over the next few months, Mark threw himself into his new role. He helped a single mother pay for her son's surgery. He provided school supplies to 3 different elementary schools. He organized a program that provided free meals to elderly residents who couldn't afford groceries. Each case reminded him of his own struggles, of what it felt like to need help and not know where to turn. Every family he helped made him more grateful for the chance Catherine had given him. 6 months into the job, Catherine called Mark into her office. I have some news, she said with a smile. The board of directors is so impressed with your work that they're promoting you to Director of Community Relations. It comes with a raise and more resources to help people. Mark felt overwhelmed. Catherine, I don't know how to thank you. You thank me by continuing to be who you are. By helping people the way you helped me. That evening, Mark picked Lily up from her after-school program, something he could now afford thanks to his new salary. As they walked to their new apartment in a safer neighborhood, Lily skipped beside him, chattering about her day. Daddy, can I ask you something? Always, sweetheart. Do you think that lady at the store knew she was going to help us when you helped her? Mark thought about it. No, I don't think she knew. I think she just wanted to do something nice for someone who had been nice to her. So good things happen when you do good things? Sometimes, Lily. Not always, but sometimes. Then I'm going to do good things every day, Lily declared. Mark smiled, thinking about how much their lives had changed. A year ago, he was struggling to pay bills on a grocery store salary. Now, he had a career he loved, financial security, and the ability to help other families the way Catherine had helped his. But more than that, he had learned that kindness creates ripples. His small act of kindness had given Catherine the strength to fight for what was hers. Her gratitude had given him opportunities he never could have imagined. And now, every day he was able to help other people create their own ripples of kindness. 1 year after losing his job at Henderson's grocery store, Mark received an unexpected phone call. Mark? This is Tom Peterson. From Henderson's. Mark was surprised to hear from his old manager. Mr. Peterson. How are you? I'm calling because I wanted to apologize. And to tell you something. What's that? Henderson's corporate office has been investigating our store's policies after several complaints about employee treatment. They found out about your situation and they've decided to change the policy. Employees are now allowed to make personal purchases for customers in emergency situations. Mark was quiet for a moment. That's good news for future employees. Mark, they also want to offer you your job back. Store manager position. Significant pay increase. Mark looked around his office at Williams Construction, at the photos on his desk of families he had helped, at the calendar full of upcoming community events. "Mr. Peterson, I appreciate the offer, but I'm very happy where I am." "Are you sure?" "It's a good opportunity." "I'm sure. But thank you for calling." After he hung up, Mark thought about the path that had brought him here. Sometimes losing everything was the only way to find what you were really meant to do. Sometimes getting fired was the best thing that could happen to you. That evening, Mark and Lily volunteered at the community center, serving dinner to families in need. As Mark watched his daughter carefully ladle soup into bowls, chatting with everyone she served, he realized that the most important lesson he had learned wasn't about kindness creating opportunities. It was about teaching his daughter that helping others wasn't something you did when it was convenient or safe. It was something you did because it was right, regardless of the cost. "Daddy," Lily said as they cleaned up after dinner, "I'm proud of you." "I'm proud of you too, sweetheart. Do you think Mrs. Catherine knows how much she changed our lives?" Mark smiled, thinking about Catherine, who had become not just his boss but a close family friend. "I think she knows. And I think she's glad she got the chance to help us the way we helped her." As they walked home under the streetlights, Mark reflected on the amazing chain of events that had started with $20 and a stranger's desperate need for medicine. He had lost a job he thought he needed and gained a career he never knew he wanted. Sometimes the most unexpected gifts come from the most ordinary acts of kindness. Sometimes helping a stranger changes your life more than it changes theirs. And sometimes, losing everything is just the beginning of finding everything you never knew you were looking for. Mark had given Catherine $20 and ended up receiving a future he never could have imagined. But the real gift wasn't the job or the money or the security. The real gift was the reminder that good people exist, that kindness matters, and that sometimes the smallest acts of compassion can change the entire course of a life. As Mark tucked Lily into bed that night, she asked one more question. "Daddy, if you had known that helping Mrs. Catherine would get you fired, would you still have done it?" Mark didn't hesitate. "Yes, sweetheart. Every time." "Good," Lily said sleepily. "That's what makes you the best daddy in the world." And as Mark turned off the lights, he knew that no matter what unexpected gifts life might bring, the most important thing he could give his daughter was the example of choosing kindness, even when it cost him everything. Because sometimes everything you lose makes room for everything you were meant to find.